I hated reading. Like most of you, growing up, I had to read books chosen by my teachers that didn't make any sense most of the time. Until 2017, a few months before I graduated, I got introduced to the world of knowledge. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 7 books that changed my life, that shaped my career, and that made me the person that I am today. I totally recommend you grab one of these books for the new year, or that you buy one of them for someone you care about. Let's start with number 1, the book on rental property investing by Brandon Turner. My close friend, whom you already seen on the channel, recommended this book a few months before I graduated. He told me he had found a solution to our career that hadn't started yet. He told me something I've never heard before. We could retire early and enjoy life before being old. So I gave that a read. In the book on rental property, you learn all the basics of real estate investing. I like how the book starts with how many years approximately it could take you to be financially free, then moves on to the nitty-gritty of how to find good rental properties, how to deal with tenants, what neighborhoods to choose, and what strategy you can follow, whether buying properties to just rent them or buying old houses, renovate them, and sell them for profit. Brandon Turner is the author and the host of Bigger Pockets website and podcast, and he's pretty well known in the US. So if you're interested in the idea of being financially free by using the real estate vehicle, I would definitely recommend this book. And this book really holds a special place in my heart because it introduced me to the new world of making your money work for you rather than working for money. But it also made me realize there is so much knowledge out there that I don't know about. I know nothing, and this is where my quest for knowledge really started. Okay, I swear it's the last time that I put Tai Lopez in this video. Alright, so moving on to the second book, 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I think you've seen it coming. This book is basically on all book lists on YouTube, but I have my own story on how this book changed my life. I honestly don't remember how I got to know Tim Ferriss, but it was maybe online when I was doing research on being an entrepreneur. So now that I had a new goal in mind, like saving money to be financially free and buy rental properties, I was interested in how I can increase my income. So after I got settled at PwC, my first job out of school, I realized I had too much time in hand. So I started to see whether I can kind of like start a new venture on the side. And this is where the 4-Hour Workweek came into play. It gave me the roadmap and the mindset that I needed. And that was way before I started Primal Career, by the way. Through this book, I learned it was possible to not let your work control your life, but to design your business to fit with the lifestyle you want. And Tim Ferriss calls this being a new rich. The new rich are time and financially free, people who want to live their life now and not 40 years from now. And he says, like, things that blew my mind at the time. He said being rich is not about having tons of money. It's having what money can enable in your life, like traveling more and having more free time to spend with your loved ones. And based on this new concept, well, the book is all about how to achieve this using the DEAL formula. D for defining what you want, E for eliminating useless tasks, A for automating most of your tasks, L for liberation from your work. And this is where Primal Career's little brother started, the Pro CV. You never heard of it because it was like a website I started before this YouTube channel based on what I read on the 4-Hour Workweek, but then it evolved into Primal Career. I would totally recommend this book if you want to start a side hustle soon. So after I read the 4-Hour Workweek, I realized I was reading too many business and productivity books. And so I wanted to change a little bit. And that led me to buy an interesting book I found at Chapters, A World of 3 Zeros by Muhammad Yunus. This book means a lot to me because it was the first time I was reading that it is possible to change lives through businesses. This concept has a name, and it's social entrepreneurship. This book literally gave me purpose because I was never about just making money and being an entrepreneur. At the end of the day, I wanted to find ways to leave things that are beneficial behind me, and this book gave me the answer I needed. That's why at some point I decided that I wanted to become a social entrepreneur. So this book is all about how we must evolve from capitalism and upgrade now that we have new challenges facing us like climate change. So A World of 3 Zeros is all about how to be entrepreneurs to achieve zero poverty, zero unemployment, and zero net carbon emissions. And one quote that struck me was, "No job, no life." This message is sent loud and clear from every direction: home, school, media. When you become an adult, you offer yourself to the scrutiny of the job market. A job is your destiny. If you miss it, you show up in the breadline. Nobody tells young people that they are nature built to become entrepreneurs rather than waiting in line to get hired. Ouch. This is so true. A great example of this is one of Muhammad Yunus' venture. He sent solar panels to purify waters in rural areas in Bangladesh. Can you imagine creating a whole business that exists solely to contribute and elevate the level of life of other people? For me, that's powerful and very meaningful. So if you don't see me in social entrepreneurship in the next 5 years, please tell me I've gotten this straight. I count on you. Anyway, I was so excited with my new goals and new ventures that I started to question whether I was on the right path. So with my consulting job at PwC, I was asking myself if I needed to stay a consultant or maybe change jobs to something more related to my newly found passion. And that's where I stumbled into So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. I think this is the book I talked the most about on my channel, so finally I can tell you more about it. I don't remember when I got introduced to this book, but thank God I read it at the perfect time. Cal Newport helped me answer all of my career crisis questions. It wasn't the period where I didn't have much to do at my job and when I just started my YouTube channel, so I was asking myself if I was in the wrong field because it seemed like I was not passionate about it. Well, Cal Newport, the author, explained why passion is the worst indicator of a great career. For the first time, I understood that passion is built and not inherited. And Cal Newport gives the stages you must go through in your career before you become kind of like fully fulfilled. He said something that I related to. He said that your first job out of school will rarely be exceptional because as an entry-level professional, you won't be charged with the most challenging and fulfilling task. You first need to build up your skills to a certain level before having access to truly meaningful work with conditions that suits you. So thanks to him, I stayed in consulting and learned to appreciate it after I noticed I was becoming better at it. I truly recommend everyone to read this book. It can absolutely change how you view your career. And with this new determination to stay a consultant to upgrade my career, being a social entrepreneur one day, working on my YouTube channel and investing to be financially free, I became more and more interested in how to use my money efficiently to achieve my new goals. And that's where I stumbled into Matt Devell's video with Ramit Sethi on YouTube.
I mean, the most classic thing is don't spend money on lattes. Okay, everyone, first of all, don't worry, everyone watching and listening, I'm not gonna tell you to cut back on lattes.
And I enjoyed their conversation so much that I bought Ramit's book right after. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. So for the first time in my life, I was not only reading about saving techniques and cutting back, but also how do I spend my money and why am I saving in the first place? Ramit gave me purpose behind saving and spending my money. He introduced me to the concept of rich life this time. That is closely related to Tim Ferriss' New Rich, by the way, but it's a bit different. A rich life is basically living a life based on your personal terms. A crazy example is how Ramit has someone who waters his plants because he always forgets. It's about ordering food when you're tired instead of cooking just to save money. It's about buying environmentally friendly clothes for a higher price instead of buying cheap ones. Your rich life is around what you value, and I love that. If you want to learn how to save your money consciously, without being too freaky about it, and then learn how to invest it wisely, then I would absolutely recommend this book. Ever since that day I read this, Ramit became one of my mentors. I regularly read his content, bought some of his courses, and learned a lot from him. But I have to say, even after reading Ramit's book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, was still in my thoughts, so I grabbed Cal Newport's second book next, Deep Work by Cal Newport. If I consider myself a productive person today, it's because of this book. For the first time, I had reasons why distractions were really bad for me. I got introduced to the concept of deep work, and Cal Newport explained how in this new world of social media, internet, emails, and messages, being distracted became the norm. So the real overachiever and the really successful people are the ones who can stay focused the longest. The book is all about changing your mindset by understanding the importance of focused work, how it can help you become valuable in your job, how to cut back hours while achieving more, also gives you tangible techniques to do it. Ever since I read this book, my phone is always in another room when I work, and I always set a timer for deep work sessions without any interruptions. It's one of the things that helped me work my consulting job and run this YouTube channel at the same time. So now finally, the last book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I read this book early this year and really helped me tackle many of the bad habits I had because of the pandemic. James Clear is the first author who cured my overachieving mindset. In the past, I would always tell myself if I couldn't do something to the fullest, then I won't bother myself doing it. Because of that, it was very hard for me to stay consistent with the gym or eating better or anything else. But for the first time, James Clear explained how every good habit must start with ridiculous actions. Want to go to the gym? Try going once a month before going once every 2 weeks and so on. Want to eat healthier? Well, start by changing one element of one meal a day. It's just crazy how with small incremental changes, you can change in your life in the long term. He also talks about tangible techniques to help you make these changes, and I already talked about those in a previous video that I will put here and in the description, but my favorite one is habit stacking. The act of stacking a habit you want to add to your life with a habit you already have. Let's take an example. There was a time where I struggled to read every day. So I used habit stacking to help me. I have the habit of drinking a full glass of water first thing in the morning while sitting in my living room. So I stacked reading a few pages right after that. So if you want your mind blown and if you want to learn how to build tiny habits that can help you become a better person in the long run, you absolutely need to read this book. So there are many books that were amazing that I didn't put in this list. So let me know if you want another video on the books that I read. In the meantime, let me know in the comments which book are you going to get first. So Good Day Can't Ignore You, maybe A World of 3.0 or Atomic Habit. Let me know below. If you're into self-development, then you might want to watch this video where I tell you about the mindset change you need to get high-end jobs. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more career content like this one. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.